Would you like a keyboard with most of the features found on a $2,000 Yamaha keyboard for just $699? Keep watching to find out. The high-end arranger workstation category is a niche that is tightly held by the Korg PA and the Yamaha PSR SX keyboards. Arranger keyboards in this category have fantastic sounds and loads of useful features for live solo performances, but these keyboards have a problem. They are expensive and are priced out of reach of many keyboard players from less affluent economies. The AK-X10 accompaniment keyboard is Medeli's attempt to give us most of the same high-end features in the Yamaha PSR SX900 coupled with good samples at up to 70% cheaper. If you are one of those who doubt Medeli can make a good keyboard, Google ASM Hydra Synth built by Medeli's subsidiary, which has gotten 5-star reviews from all over the world. In today's video, I will review the sound quality, key action, speaker quality, feature list, user interface, and build quality of the Medeli AK-X10, as well as make comparisons to Yamaha PSR SX and Korg PA keyboards that I personally own and have reviewed on this channel. At the end of this video, I will tell you who are the people who are better off buying the Medeli AK-X10 versus the Yamaha PSR SX or Korg PA keyboards that cost twice as much. So make sure you watch till the end. The Medeli AK-X10 has one of the better key actions I have played on. While the keybed of the $699 AK-X10 is nowhere near the ultra high quality keybed of a $5,000 Yamaha GNOS or a $4,000 Korg PA4X, the Medeli key action is firm, quiet, with no rattles associated with cheap keyboards and has a nice linear feel. Medeli also included a little strip of black foam below the keys to dampen any key noise. The keys do get noticeably harder to press nearer to the pivot points though, indicating these keys have short pivot lengths. Keyboard players will have no issue, but those who use the AK-X10 to play complex classical piano pieces will face some issues. However, I doubt anyone buys this keyboard to play Debussy or Chopin. Under my fingers, these keys are as good as those found on Yamaha PSR SX and the Korg PA keyboards, which cost up to $1,500 more than the AK-X10. Something I don't like though are the glossy key surfaces. I would have preferred a matte and lightly textured key surface, which other manufacturers are beginning to use. While the Yamaha PSR SX900 has only got 5 velocity curves, the AK-X10 does better with 8 velocity curves, so you can find the perfect setting for your playing style. I have links in the description to more information and updated price of the Medeli AK-X10 and the keyboards I mentioned in this video. Medeli AK-X10 comes with 1100 sounds plus 256 general MIDI 2 voices with an additional 768 MB of user memory for you to load your own additional samples. This user memory is more than the Yamaha PSR SX600, which has a paltry 100 MB, and the PSR SX700, which has just 400 MB. In my opinion, the sound of the Medeli AK-X10 is on par with the PSR SX600 and SX700, but for some sounds, the Yamaha PSR SX900 is still better, which shouldn't be a surprise as the Yamaha costs $1,500 more than the AK-X10. Voice articulations and velocity switched samples, which Medeli calls acoustic expression sound, are significantly better than previous Medeli keyboards, but are frankly still no match for the super articulation technology found on the Yamaha SX900. You can layer up to 3 voices on the AK-X10, which is more than the dual layers found on Yamaha's more expensive PSR SX900 and DGX670. Unless you are a paid musician or produce music professionally. For most keyboard players, the quality of the sounds in the AK-X10 are more than sufficient. Forgive me for being blunt, but if you cannot make good music with the $699 Medeli AK-X10, you are unlikely to make music that sounds $1,500 better even if you have the Yamaha PSR SX900. With individual channel EQ, 45 reverbs, 76 choruses, and 48 insert effects, including the option to configure another 90 of your own, plus a global EQ and compressor, the AK-X10 lets you go really deep in editing a unique tone for use in your music. The massive touchscreen also makes the sound editing easy. In addition, you can create up to 500 of your own arpeggiator patterns if the built-in 100 patterns isn't enough. If you still want more, you can use the Medeli Grand Suite software to easily load and edit millions of samples found on the internet and create expansion packs really easily. The software can also be used to effortlessly create whatever arpeggiator patterns you can imagine. Medeli is beginning to understand that for the AK-X10 to succeed, they have to build an ecosystem for their AK-X keyboards, just like how Apple built an ecosystem around their iOS devices. With Medeli's Grand Suite software, more experienced musicians can effortlessly make expansion packs to share or to sell to others. For those who prefer not to program your own registrations, the AK-X10 comes with more than 1,000 quick settings for you to mix and match with every available style. In my opinion, the quick settings is as well programmed as the one-touch settings on Yamaha's SX keyboards. The joystick used for pitch bend and modulation feels premium and returns to the center smoothly. I also love the little LED ring light on the tip of the joystick. The 3 assignable switches above the joystick have soft touch surfaces and can be configured with more than 20 different performance parameters. I love the 3 large knobs that can also be assigned and configured to trigger a long list of real-time effects. The knobs feel so smooth and dampened that it makes the plasticky PSR SX knobs feel cheap. The really pretty LED indicators also let you see at a glance the amount of effects you have applied. The AK-X10 claims to have 256 notes of polyphony, whereas the Yamaha PSR SX900, which costs $1,500 more, has only half the polyphony. Other YouTubers have highlighted that Medeli tends to overstate their polyphony in their lower-end keyboards, so I put the AK-X10 through my own polyphony torture test. I layered 3 voices with a ridiculous amount of delay and sustain while a busy style is playing and did not experience any note dropouts, an extremely important feature for arranger keyboards. The Medeli AK-X10 is marketed as an accompaniment keyboard, and it comes with 280 inbuilt styles covering every imaginable musical genre. However, Medeli is building an ecosystem for users to load a lot more of their own or third-party styles. That is why you get a huge internal memory for another 1,000 user styles. With every style, you get 3 intros, 3 endings, 4 variations, 4 rhythm fills, half-bar fills, and a musical break. The styles are well programmed and respond decisively to bass inversions and complex chord changes. Transitions between variations and fill-ins are also smooth. A visual mixer allows you to mix the volume or mute any of the 8 tracks in every style, extremely useful to build up an arrangement. In my opinion, Casio is the weakest in the styles department, and the styles in the AK-X10 are better than the styles in the Casio CTX keyboards. In my opinion, the AK-X10 styles are as good as those found in the Korg PA700 and the lower-end Yamaha PSR SX keyboards. However, the styles in the AK-X10 have yet to reach the dynamics and musicality of the styles found on Yamaha's PSR SX900, which is to be expected as the SX900 costs $1,500 more. Medeli wants you to explore creating and editing your own styles and have included a very powerful 8 tracks style creator and editor. You can record new styles in real time or go into granular editing with step recording, which is a feature not found in entry-level Yamaha PSR SX keyboards. Every imaginable chord detection mode, such as bass inversion, full keyboard detection, are available on this keyboard, which makes it perfect for those using the AK-X10 for Trinity College of London's keyboard exams. Again, Medeli's Grand Suite software makes it ridiculously easy for users to create, edit, and mix style parts, which is key to creating an ecosystem where users can easily share or sell their own style creation. To further spice up your playing, there are 720 musical phrases which you can trigger with phrase pads. If that isn't enough, you can record an additional 500 of your own musical phrases to make your music sound busier. That being said, it's a pity that the phrase pad cannot trigger audio samples, which the higher-end Yamaha and Korg keyboards can do. However, at just $699, I'm not gonna quibble over it. Don't forget to check out the links in the description for more information and current prices of all the keyboards I mentioned in this video. In order to make sure the keyboard has enough power to sound good, Medeli equipped the AK-X10 with 2 pairs of amplifiers for a total of 100 watts of amplification. These amplifiers drive 4 speakers, which gives the keyboard a good amount of frequency separation. The AK-X10 speaker system sounds significantly better than my PSR SX600 and SX700, as these two Yamaha keyboards only have a pair of amplifiers which put out a paltry 30 watts of power. That being said, all of these keyboards really sound best when plugged into a good speaker system. You can find out which external speaker system I personally use, recommend, and perform with in the description below. One feature I really love on the Medeli AK-X10 is the large touchscreen. In my experience, this touchscreen is more responsive than those found on both the Yamaha PSR SX as well as those on the Korg PA keyboards. This screen seems to have a higher touch sampling rate, which explains why it gives me the confidence that what I touch on screen will be registered. You can also personalize the thematic colors of the UI on the touchscreen to make it your very own. The Yamaha SX600, which costs $300 more than the AK-X10, doesn't have a touchscreen and the screen is significantly smaller. I love that the AK-X10 comes with not just a microphone input, but also a vocal harmonizer and a vocoder. The vocal effects section is great, but the vocal harmonizer and vocoder is still behind those found on Yamaha and Korg. But it's amazing that we are getting these features in such an affordable keyboard. The AK-X10 comes with a slew of connectivity options, which I love. Many connectors slowly disappearing from keyboards under $1,000 due to cost-cutting measures are still present on the Medeli. Apart from the usual headphone jack, you get 2 assignable pedal inputs, a pair of 1/4-inch stereo line outputs, and a pair of 1/4-inch stereo line inputs. Compare this with Yamaha, which gives you a paltry mini jack for the aux-in. Apart from the full-size 5-DIN MIDI in and out ports, which are great for controlling external modular synths, the USB port on the AK-X10 transmits and receives both MIDI and audio, doing away with the need for you to buy an external audio interface. Audio over USB is a feature which even Yamaha's $5,000 Genos cannot do, and if you prefer a wireless setup, the AK-X10 has wireless Bluetooth and audio built right in. You can check out the headphones I use and recommend in the description below. To save your own registration setups, the AK-X10 can internally support up to 200 banks for a total of 1600 registration memory slots, which is plenty for most users. You can also save up to 1000 user albums. Albums are the equivalent of Yamaha's playlist and Korg's songbook feature. The AK-X10 is a full-fledged 16-track sequencing workstation. You can record up to 500 songs internally and have the ability to execute granular event-level editing. You can also record your performance as audio recordings if you prefer for easier distribution. For those who rather play with audio backing tracks rather than styles, the AK-X10 supports WAV, MP3, and AAC audio files and can remove vocals from the audio track as well. To make the AK-X10 stand out on stage, Medeli has also incorporated really cool breathing LED lights on both sides of the keyboard. The LED lights pulse rhythmically in sync with your music and adds an additional dimension to your stage performance. You can change the color of these pulsating lights or turn them off when you play in more conservative environments. I never had to refer to the manual at all since the first day I got this keyboard. This is testament to how user-friendly and logically laid out the AK-X10 is. Anyone who has used a Yamaha PSR S or SX series keyboard would instantly feel right at home on the AK-X10. Many of the features are also uncannily similar to Yamaha arrangers. One-touch setting on Yamaha is quick setting on Medeli. Playlists on Yamaha and songbook on Korg are called albums on this keyboard. Even Yamaha's direct access feature, which I use a lot, is here on the Medeli, but it's called the shortcut button. Although Yamaha and Korg have full color touchscreens, the implementation on the AK-X10 is much better. On the AK-X10, you get large, high contrast faders, knobs, and buttons. The layout is very well thought out and nothing is gratuitous. Unlike the Korg PA screen, which has the resolution of a Game Boy, and Yamaha's screen, which has a lot of wasted real estate in order to look aesthetic and colorful, every element on every screen of the AK-X10 is purposeful, highly functional, and makes sense. Medeli has taken the best of Korg and Yamaha user interface and improved on it. In fact, I would go as far as stating that the AK-X10 touchscreen responsiveness, layout, and user experience is currently the gold standard which the competitors should learn from. Medeli's entry-level keyboards are nasty. I don't like them, and I'm not afraid to say it because this isn't a music shop demo video. But the build quality of the AK-X10 is solid. It might not have the curves of a PSR SX, but I feel that after you spend 5 years lugging these keyboards around on gigs, the AK-X10 will come out in better shape than the PSR SX keyboards. In fact, 3 of my students already had to send in their PSR SX for repairs under warranty within the first year of ownership. The touchscreen, the switches, knobs, joystick, and rear connectors of the AK-X10 have a heavy-duty, robust feel to it, a feeling I didn't really get with my PSR SX keyboards. There is no doubt Medeli built the AK-X10 to be a live performance workhorse. 80% of the arranger keyboardists out there, there is no doubt that the Medeli AK-X10 at under $700 is an extremely value for money accompaniment keyboard. I would go as far as to recommend the AK-X10 as the best keyboard for those taking their Trinity College of London keyboard exams. Whether you are taking the rock and pop keyboard or electronic keyboard syllabus, this AK-X10 has every feature you need to complete all the assessment levels up to grade 8 and even the licentiate diploma. For those who are beginners and prefer not to spend too much on their first keyboard, yet don't want to keep upgrading as their skills improve, the Medeli AK-X10 is priced at a fantastic sweet spot. When you win the lottery and decide to upgrade to the $5,000 Yamaha Genos, you will be well acquainted with the familiar interface from using your AK-X10. There is no doubt the AK-X10 is better than the Casio CTX 5000, better than the Yamaha PSR E463 and PSR SX600, and better than Korg's EK50 and i3 for not very much more money. In fact, the Medeli AK-X10 is currently the best keyboard under $1,000 but costs under $699. Don't forget to check out the description for the current promotional price and more information on all the keyboards and gear I mentioned in this video. I hope you found this review useful. My name is Jeremy C, and I'll see you soon.